Hello again. It's a lovely sunny August day, and our walk today is to Thomas Hardy's cottage in the beautifully named Dorset village of Higher Bockhampton. Thomas Hardy is one of England's best known authors and poets of the late 19th century and early 20th. He died in 1928, aged 81. I'll tell you more about him later. If you've been here before, you'll know that the cottage is a short walk from the car park. We're taking the scenic route though, and going on a 5-mile circular walk to get there. Those of you that have seen some of our previous walks might recall that we have a habit of getting lost. This walk turned out to be no exception. An old Roman road led us up a hill to lovely open heathland, with purple flowering heather and golden gorse growing among the bracken. We arrived at a gate which looked out onto more open heathland and forest according to the directions. But it didn't. The forestry were in the late stages of clearing the area to harvest the trees and reinvigorate the soil and replant the trees. There was no sign of any paths. We decided to follow the track that the clearing equipment had obviously used. This was the first time that we got lost. On the left now, you can see how barren it is at the moment. We continued to follow the track, on the basis that it must go somewhere. And up ahead we can see what looks like it might be the reason for the tracks. A real boy's toy of a machine, which is used to take down trees and bushes and take off the branches, leaving the tree trunk to be taken away and turned into timber products. We continued on down the track and came to a farm. This turned out to be the private land of a blueberry grower. The lady owner was with a team of pickers who were harvesting the blueberries. She told us that we were on private property and laughed when she told us how far off course we were. No surprise there really. She very kindly showed us how to get back on the path that we should have been on. Anyway, if you want to know where Puddletown blueberries come from, I'm the man to tell you. We found our way back to the original path and set off again, following our directions. Thomas Hardy lived in the cottage that we're going to see for the first 22 years of his life. He would have walked the paths that we're following today. He probably got lost too. The scenery that we're seeing is often used as a backdrop in his novels. Although Hardy considered himself primarily as a poet, he's more well known for his novels. The most well known of these include The Mayor of Casterbridge, Far from the Madding Crowd, and Tess of the d'Urbervilles. We've come to some old farm buildings now, and we're on the outskirts of Lower Bockhampton. Some interesting old farm machinery there. As we cross over this narrow bridge, you'll see there's a sign in the wall on the left. I'll come back to that in a minute. A lovely pair of swans enjoying the sunshine. I said I'd come back to that sign. You can read it for yourself. Liable to be transported for life, it says. That means being transported to Australia as a convict and working in a penal colony. This was abolished in 1868 after about 160,000 men and women had been transported. Most of these convicts stayed in Australia after they'd served their sentence. It's reckoned that about 20% of current Australians have a transported convict in their family tree. We'll leave the bridge and the swans and follow the path along the side of the river. This is the upper reaches of the River Frome, which finds its way to the sea at Poole Harbour. It's a lovely walk along the river. Edith's enjoying it. It was so lovely that we walked past our turning and got lost again. That added about a mile to our walk, and we had to walk back along a road with no path until we ended up in a field of sheep. Thankfully, we're back on track and not much further to go until we arrive at the cottage. Edith's back on her lead now, not because she'd chase the cows, but because the cows might chase her. So it's a 10-minute walk from here. A typical English woodland walk with beech trees and hazel trees along the way. This track should lead us down to the cottage. Thomas Hardy's cottage is owned by the National Trust. All of their properties are closed at the moment due to COVID, so we won't be able to go inside the cottage. Here's the back of the cottage in front of us. It's obviously been rethatched recently. That would have been an expensive job. Thatching is a fine art. This monument was erected by some of Thomas Hardy's American admirers, apparently. We'll carry on down the track around to the front of the cottage. The garden is a typical English country garden, full of beautiful summer flowering plants. We can't go inside, as I said, so here's a stock image of Hardy's desk, with a view out over his lovely garden. Well, we made it to the cottage after walking about 7 miles. Perhaps you should have taken the 10-minute walk straight from the car park. I hope you've enjoyed this walk with me and Karen. And Edith, of course. Thanks for watching.